Hello friends, I'm Gibbet. I'm here to show you another handmade journal. This one was a custom order again, and she requested vintage lady theme. So I'll start by showing you the cover. It's plain on the back with brown paper and this kind of lovely curved piece of recycled fabric with this beautiful bronze stitching on there. I thought that went well with the colour scheme and the theme. So there's a lady graphic on there. I've done some lace and cheesecloth collaging. There's some stitching around here on the background paper, silk ribbon. At the bottom here is a quote from Romeo and Juliet with some handwriting script and some hand embroidery, some little flowers down there. This is a good little tip if you're not confident on the sewing machine actually. I was thinking if you if you framed something a few times, went round 3 or 4 times, it actually looks quite good even though you don't have to sew evenly, you see. And down here I've done a wavy line as well. So it looks quite good even though you may not be able to sew perfectly. So it's still worth having a go. I think the results can look quite good. So I'll show you the inside. This is the dashboard kind of area. Pocket here. This is that little letter for confused junk journalists. Perhaps if you get the book as a gift or something like that, just explains a little bit. And I've used some of these lovely cards from Tsunami Rose. And here is an envelope with some stitching again, and in there is some extra page tabs like this. Let me just adjust my prop there. Actually, it might be better to take that away for now. Okay, right. This is one of those little flips. I like to include this. It has a little card there for your important numbers. And a journaling card in the big pocket and a library card. I've chosen Romeo and Juliet a few times for this theme and done some gold gilding around here. And some more hand embroidery there. And here is another one of these concertina accordion things. I'm still not sure what to call that. Lots of pockets, pocket there, there, another one on the back, 2 more there, and one at the back, so you can slot in more cards. I've done some of these to look like lined paper on the sewing machine. So that's on tea dyed paper, and there's some of these on tracing paper too. That's a little mini stamp, rubber stamp. And I've backed most of these with graph paper or lined paper. It gives you somewhere to write and it makes them a bit stronger too. There's a glassine envelope with some bits in. And this is sewing paper in a few layers, which is nice to write on. Again, you can see the uneven stitching there, looks quite good. This is from a children's Shakespeare book. This looks really cute, I love that. A flip with writing space and a magnet. Let me move up a bit. Some vintage graphics, a bit of fabric tag there. The journaling card with some lace. This is a vintage inspired writing sort of practice with a tracing paper. Here is another fold out that's got a magnet. more stitched lines and whatever that is, the journaling card. There we go. And here I've made some pockets in the same way with the tracing paper. I'll just see if I can zoom rather than picking up the book each time. That might be better. And then I've encased some doilies in here and done the lines again, and it's a little card there. So there's another pocket. Let's zoom back out a little bit. Whoops. I'll get there one day. Pocket, pocket. And there's the other side again with the lines. And this came out nice too. I'm going to pick it up. An old, well, it's not an old envelope, I've made it with tea-dyed paper, and if you want to do something like this with the collaging, it's quite a nice idea to not glue the whole thing. If you just leave a few of the edges kind of loose, it makes it look as though the glue is old and dried up and it's peeling away. I've done a seal with wax blue and silver and some more hand embroidery along here on some bit of lace. And this is another little tip. If you're looking to make some of these kind of old looking pieces of ephemera, these postcards and envelopes look good if they've got, this stamp isn't old, but it looks old because I've realised they didn't used to do full colour. So this has got 2 colours, and then there's a couple of others later with just 1 colour. If you can find stamps that are just 1 or 2 colours, I think they look much better, and they kind of pass as a vintage looking thing. And you can just use these rubber stamps, which are freely available now with their postmarks like that. So I thought that looked quite good. This guy makes me laugh. I don't know who he is. He might be an actor, or maybe he dresses like that all the time, who knows, but he looks like he needs somewhere to be, so I kind of thought he deserved a place. So he's in there, and then these this is one of those little tags with, can you see that Pride and Prejudice quote? And I like the way these fit into the circle, fits into the little thumbnail there, looks cute. Some collaging, another one of Tsunami Rose cards, and this set is very pretty as well. I've forgotten who for now, but I will write that down. Stitching. Another tag with lace, and that's a postcard rubber stamp. This is Pride and Prejudice quote. More sewing paper. There's a couple of book pages here put together into a pocket with stitching, and some note paper here for you to use. You can write with gel pens on this black, it looks nice with white or silver pen. Some fabric, ledger paper, one of those pretty seed envelopes with lace band, and here I've done some more lines on the machine, like an exercise book on tracing paper, and you can write both sides on that. Some more hand embroidery here. Oh, another tip, if you are doing these, like that old looking envelope, if you're sewing directly onto paper, of course it's very easy to tear it, so it's a good idea you can use on the back interfacing. I'm not sure what we call it what you call it in the States. In Britain it's called interfacing. You can get it from the haberdashers. It's what we used to use to stiffen collars and things like that, and you can get like an iron on one, so it's got glue on one side, and it just can iron straight onto your paper. That will strengthen it while you sew, and you won't end up tearing. So here's a quote from Mr. Bennett on pasting paper. Here's a vintage tray cloth with hand embroidery made into a pocket with some more ephemera there. That's the other side with a rubber stamp. And this also is quite nice for new sewers who are not too confident yet. You can I've just used little scraps of lace, cheesecloth, some book pages, scrapbook paper, and just sewed a line down there. Wouldn't even have to be a straight line. And then you can just cover the back with lace or an envelope or whatever. Some of that pretty ledger paper. And this is a journaling kit that I've used some of from MindBarretty. She has this very nice kit called Fashion Eras, I think it was. Magnet there. So I haven't used all of that kit, but I think some of it, if you can just every now and again put one in, I think it coordinates quite nicely. I've reinforced this butterfly so that you can bend it back and you can write on both sides here. And she's got her little antenna there on the signature strings. And some of these twin pockets again. And of this dictionary definition etiquette, and I've torn that in half so that it's like a matching thing. And some Pride and Prejudice quotes again at the bottom. That's more of the MindBarretty Fashion Eras kit. Some collaging here with book pages. Here's another embroidery kind of collage thing. Some mother of pearl buttons. Some machine stitching, rubber stamping. This little pocket is just printed off the computer. Little glassine with postage stamps. Some machine stitching for these black lines, and then this is done by hand. Some flowers, and again I've used interfacing on the back of there, and it really helps if you're doing something like this to not tear your paper. Little card on there to write on. This is that lovely Tim Holtz wallflower pack. There's a poem here. Is that Shakespeare? It looks incomprehensible enough. I think that's Shakespeare, so that's him. And tracing paper. Is that beautiful birds in the meadow? Vintage graphic. Envelope. There's the other side of that lined paper. Tracing paper. And this scrapbook paper pocket. I've put this lace along here just so that it sticks out when the book stands out, so that looks nice. I like that. Up there there's a nice vintage lace pocket there, and again another old kind of envelope that I've made, and you can see this, it's not a very old stamp, but it looks it because it's just one colour again and just postmarked over the top. Distress the edges a bit and inked just to help the aged look there. Ledger paper, here's another kind of layered tuck spot, some lace, sewing paper, stitching and cheesecloth, and this vintage graphic. And here is a poem I've written out, but it's not mine, and space on the back to write on. And then I've done the stitching so that it kind of looks like a little envelope there. I forgot to say this stamping idea that I really like, and I've got this from Sigita Coffee Stains, and she does this a lot. If you just choose 2 or 3 stamps and just kind of stamp unevenly, if you're doing this kind of thing, just here and there across your pages, it really helps to marry something together and kind of coordinate your pages for you. This is 2 pockets again from that kit, and here is a little fabric pocket that's been lined and stamped on the back. 2 more pockets here of old letters, and I've made some tags. This one is a vintage tea card again, a doily on the back, and I've made this little dance card that says Netherfield Hall Dances, and so this is where Lizzie dances with Darcy, and that's his name there if you can't see it. So that's that. An old advertisement on tracing paper. This is that lovely botanicals set again. Here is kind of a love letter. I've done this on Japanese rice paper, which is really beautiful, and it's worth getting if you're interested in that kind of thing. But I would just warn you that I was not able to tea dye this. You can spray it, but you can't bathe it because it kind of shrivels up. It's so thin. I don't know if you can see. I can see my hand through that. But it has a really beautiful texture. You can ink it, of course. No problem with that. And I'm going to try some lino prints, I think, was why I originally bought it. So I'll let you know how that goes. Although I digress now. Okay. So another fake envelope. So you can see, I think that might actually be an old one. It's got shillings, which is before my time. So that's that. And I've included some writing practice cards. And then there's pockets on both sides of this. Some lace there at the bottom. And then you can see this beautiful paper. It's got this lovely pearlescent sheen to it. It's really lovely. I'm just going to prop it up again. And there's a little magnet flip with writing space. Writing space again. And there's the other side of this panel, pocket there, fabric. Here's a pocket with a machine lines again. And if you wanted to add another tag, there's space at the top, at the back here. And here's another one of these layered kind of tuck spots with some vintage kind of lace and a mother of pearl bottom there. A magnet pocket with lots of stitching and journaling card, postcard pocket, and then one of these little fold out envelopes. And some more bits and pieces in here to write on. And then that's the back. Bit of lace there. And this is one of my favourite graphics, Children's Shakespeare. It's a book cover that I've downloaded, and I've just made that into a little exercise book for extra notes. And some lace there, and I think that covers everything. It's 2.5 by 8.5 by 6, so it's quite hefty. So that's why I've done a ribbon enclosure this time. Closure, sorry. Okay, and I think that's all. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you everyone for all your kind thoughts and comments. See you next time. Bye.